Most of us fail to achieve our goals for the very same reason. And before I tell you what that reason is, I want you to think about something for a minute. How do you typically approach your objectives? Something you want, something you desire. How do you usually step in to make that happen? Are you a go-getter? Do you just get the ball rolling as soon as inspiration strikes? Do you wait and wait and wait and get ready to do it? Are you somebody who has to have a really meticulous plan locked and loaded before you even take one step forward? Think about that as I tell you a little bit more about this, because I've been working in men's circles in the field of men's work for over a decade now. And if there's one thing that I've seen time and time again, it's that men have a lot of great ideas, a lot of great inspiration coming from a big heart that we have in our chest to be of service. But most of these great ideas never get done. They get talked about. Sometimes they even make it to words on paper, but they never actually happen. And I'm not excluded from that. That's the same journey that I've been walking. I've been trying to figure out how to get my ideas into action in the world, to create something, to build something long term. So I've thought about this a lot, and I've spent a lot of time in circles with men who are older, grayer, have more experience than I do. And the one thing that keeps most of us from achieving those goals is that we fail to create a bulletproof strategy, something that will carry you through those moments of indecision, those moments of uncertainty and doubt. So what does that look like? What can that look like when you actually have men at your back supporting you? You see, this is a very common practice in high-performing men's circles, is that we orchestrate plans, strategies that are not just checklists, not just bullet points of things we need to get done, but we put purpose and reason and strategy behind what we're going to do. It's not just making 20 phone calls a day so that you get 5 clients by the end of the month. Why are you making those calls? Why do you even care? What is the big picture of it all? It starts with vision. If you don't have a clear vision of the outcome you want at the end of the day, at the end of the season, at the end of the year, at the end of the next 5, 10, 20 years, then how can you possibly fire your arrow? See, this is what happens with a lot of guys. Instead of ready, aim, fire, which looks like creating a strategy, having it vetted by men who know you, men who you trust, men who have your best interests at heart, we show up in the world more like fire, ready, aim. Shooting our arrows off carelessly in all different directions just to see where they might land. Now, for a certain stage of life, a certain stage of development as a man, that's okay. For those of us knights out there going out and slaying dragons, having fun and adventure, accumulating stories and experience that will one day serve us when we build our kingdom. Fire, ready, aim, that's okay. But when the stakes are higher, when you have a family, when you have a partner and you have people to provide for, you gotta be more precise with those targets. There's a finite number of arrows, a finite number of shots that we can take. It takes a lot of energy to take these big shots in the world. And so a lot of guys are going out there just shooting arrows off in any which direction, building our sense of resilience to the unknown. And like I said, that's a useful part of life. It's useful to know that in any situation, under any circumstances, you can figure it out. You can find your way, you can navigate through the unknown. That's part of being a knight. It's part of getting ready to build a kingdom. But you don't build a kingdom by firing arrows off haphazardly, by showing up to meetings and appointments and interviews at any time you please. Precision, focus, intention, these are characteristics of a mature man, of the mature masculine, putting his full force and energy behind a purpose that's clear, behind a vision that he's nurtured, that he's carried through the fires and burned in the coals, and that has emerged on the other side with diamond clarity, razor sharp clarity. And so fire your arrows off if you're in that stage of life where you're just trying to see what you're capable of. Shoot in any which direction if you're just trying to see how far you can shoot. Test your range. See how much power and energy you can put behind one of those arrows. But when it comes time to build, when it comes time to really employ an effective strategy for building something you care about, whether this is a business, whether this is a community, an organization, starting a family. This is when you got to really put well thought out strategy behind those shots. It took me years and years to really understand the significance of this. I've gone through so many different written out plans and 5, 6, 7, 10 drafts of the same plan before a man would actually look me in the eye and say, you know what? This is solid. Carry on with this. It's so frustrating. It can be so meticulous and tedious to get a plan dialed in where it's going to carry you through those hard times. But I tell you what, the time, the effort, the energy that goes into planning and creating a solid strategy and having a man who can see your blind spots, who can see the potential holes or missteps in your strategy is priceless. So next time you think about taking a big shot, just be conscious of how you're shooting. Where are you taking aim? What are you looking off to in the distance? What do you want to bring home at the end of the day for your family? Or is this just target practice? Are you just firing off arrows to see where they might end up? As long as you're mindful of that, as long as there's intention and choice behind how you're shooting your arrows. And when you're ready to move out of that fire ready aim phase of life, remember that it's ready, aim, fire, and then let it rip. If you like what we're dropping here with The Rising Man, make sure you guys subscribe to The Rising Man podcast. Subscribe here on YouTube right now and keep coming back. Share it up with your friends, share it up with your family, because we're going to keep the heat coming to you. Oh, I didn't hit record.